So I really want to encourage you guys to start doing the things that you want and invite the harmony, the love, the respect, the kindness, no more yelling, the open communication that's of normal tone, the time out, and all those things, like all the things that we're saying we want, maybe in the family unit, in that ecosystem in the family, maybe with ourselves, maybe with, I don't know, like it could be extension of friends, it could be an extension of workplace. But I'm going to invite you guys to do that from the place of non-destruction. Please hear this, the place of non-destruction. It's almost like we have to prove the fact that we need what we have. And you know how like as in need what we're seeking. So if we want a break, we have to prove the fact that we need that break, as opposed to just going, hey, I honor that in myself. It's part of my needs and I'm going to receive it. I'm going to take it. Like, let's just start practicing that. It feels very uncomfortable to begin with, but let's just start to practice that. And it's a little bit like, well, the destruction that comes with it, of course. There's so many things in the destruction. Like if we use that break as an example, we might yell at our family as to why we're so tired, or our spouse or our kids or whatever, why we're so tired and all the things that we're doing. And we're yelling, and in that yelling, we sort of want that acknowledgement and everything. And maybe we're really like overwhelmed and fed up, but it's not actually the behavior we really want to be doing. And fuck, if you film that behavior and put it all over social media, and that's not from a shame perspective, you'd be like, oh, I just, I don't want to be that person anymore. And even, let's not put it on social media. It's not what I'm getting at, but let's realize that if you wouldn't do it in public, you don't actually want to do it in private. Let's start to have that integrity with self. And so hence the lack of distraction. Let's start to do things from a harmonious perspective. And yes, it's going to take a bit of a shuffle if you're deeply wired and ingrained in these other behaviors. But let's get in the habit of just going, hey, my needs get to be met. What even are your needs? Have you even articulated that? Do you know that your kids have needs too, or your spouse has needs too, and your friends have needs too? Like, let's encourage that in all of us and start to look at it from a place of, I don't know, self-respect and respect for other people too. And there's some compromise, sure. There might be some flexibility, absolutely. But it's not conditional. It's not like you get this so I can have that, or I get this because I've done all of these things. You have these needs anyway. But what I tend to see a lot of is, and it starts somewhere. So I understand it completely, that when we're starting to say, hey, these are the things that we want, the only way we can feel like we're heard is by yelling louder and louder and louder, or getting louder and louder and louder, or getting more and more destructive. And so, I see sometimes a spouse pushing their partner away. They want to break, but they feel like, I don't want to have to explain things right now. I don't want to have to go through the conversation with things right now, like, just about how they're feeling or whatever it might be. I just simply want that space and that reflection. And so what they do is they push their partner away, and it becomes like a fight. It becomes like a sticking point. It becomes an argument, and it starts to become a cycle. It starts to become something that's really normal in our life. And we're like, why do they yell at us? Or I'm just so fed up. I feel like I can't ask for anything. And it can come from both sides, the same with our kids or whoever it might be. And so I'm going to come back to the same message. Let's just give ourselves permission to fulfill our needs without the destruction, without the chaos. Like, you want communication? Let's communicate. Let's just open our mouths and speak. And I know you could be really fed up. And so it feels like, I haven't been heard 1,000 times before, but let's make this the time that we start to change it. And like I say, with anything, you can't go into any situation with the same energy that got you there. So if you're walking into a conversation or a situation thinking this person doesn't understand, they never listen to me, it always ends up a shit fight, blah, 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 blah. Like, if you are walking in with exactly that, but you think you're going to approach it differently, you've just approached it exactly the same. All right. So hold that faith, hold that trust in yourself, realize, like, come back as the observer, like, understand that you can absolutely be responsible for your behavior. You can't be responsible for somebody else's, but how you want to teach your kids or your spouse or whoever it is to interact with you, and what you do, like your standards, like what you tolerate, what you do not tolerate, and empower them with exactly the same thing, of course, or colleagues, whoever it might be, starts with you taking responsibility for your behavior. And so if you don't like what you're doing, and maybe you're not even aware, maybe you're like, shit, I really have that destructive streak where I'm like pushing them away, and retreating, and then, being silent or not talking or whatever, but, not in a healthy way. Just like, hey, I just need a break right now. At some point in time, it's probably going to be confronting for the other party, if you will, as much as it's confronting for you, because it's different. But get to the place and the space where you work together on that. Like, that's another opportunity to move through this, because the harmonious life, the communication, the love, the respect, the needs being met, all of those things don't come from approaching everything with the same thoughts, same energy, same expectations, same beliefs, all of those things that got you to where you are now. You're just going to repeat the cycle over and over and over again. And you're going to feel like you're banging your head against a brick wall, because like, what else can I be doing right now? But there are so many ways to do things. There are so many ways that you can mix this up and start to really honor your needs getting met from that place of absolute integrity and shining through with your values. But it's going to start with you. It's going to start with you to change your mind. It's going to start with you to, acknowledge that you're doing it this way. And it's going to start with you to take responsibility for that and say, no longer am I going to give myself the excuse that was okay because they did this. It's just not okay. I just am not going to tolerate that from myself. We talk about standards from what we're receiving from other people, but are we leading that for ourselves? Often we're not. So love to hear what comes up for you